Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, kick-started his party's campaign in Jammu and Kashmir. While addressing a rally in the poll-bound region, the leader of opposition hit out at the Jammu and Kashmir Governor Manoj Sinha, who forms an integral part given the absence of legislature in the union territory. The leader of the opposition took a jibe at the governor and said that the governor, in his opinion, behaves like a quote-unquote king with a monarchy that has been set up by the central government in Jammu and Kashmir by snatching away the rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and giving it the status of a union territory. The central government is snatching money and their rights from the union territory and handing them over to outsiders. He also spoke about how India, despite having become a democracy in 1947, still sees a monarchy in Jammu and Kashmir. Let's start this conversation. Joining me on the telecast is SP Vaid. He's the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. SP Vaid, let's try to understand from you about the political scenario in the current state of affairs in Jammu and Kashmir. We see that the Congress has aligned with the National Conference, and the National Conference and Omar Abdullah has time and again spoken about how abrogation of Article 370 was a red letter day in the history of Jammu and Kashmir and the entire country. And if the National Conference and its ideology is taken up by the Congress and replicated, which means that they are fighting against the rights of the Kashmiri Pandits who were thrown out of their own land back in the 1980s.
Absolutely. In fact, see, the tragedy is the joining of hand of National Conference and Congress. It's not for the first time. We have seen it happening during Rajiv Gandhi's time. If you recall, Dr. Farooq Abdullah was the Chief Minister and Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. And that is when whole terrorism actually took its roots. There was a gap of the opposition was created when both these parties, which were actually the ruling and the opposition party, joined hands in '87, if I recall correctly, and that's what actually gave ground to organization like MUF, Muslim United Front, and then they occupied the space of the opposition, and then actually this joining of hand of both Congress and National Conference that time actually gave birth to terrorism, if you go in the history. And when election was held, the central government allowed National Conference to do, this is what is actually alleged by many people in Kashmir Valley, that bunglings were done in elections in '87, and some of the MUF candidates were arrested, and they were, in fact, the present chief of Hizbul Mujahideen, Sayyid Salahuddin, was one of the candidates. And when they realized that they cannot come through the ballot, so they picked up gun, and this is what Pakistan exploited. Well, you gave them opportunity, and let me remind both these parties that this is what they have contributed. Now, coming to the allegations of Rahul Gandhi, rather, abrogation of Article 370 has actually given rights to people who were marginalized, who those who chose to come to rest of India were all given citizenship of India. Your Prime Minister, earlier Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh was one of them. But those who by mistake came to Kashmir, they were denied citizenship. All West Pakistan refugees, I think 5 to 6 lakh people, they were denied basic rights of citizenship in spite of them living for last 75 years here. Gorkhas, all these people were denied rights. Your Kashmiri Pandits, how they were hounded out, how they were treated and marginalized. So I think these allegations by these parties are baseless. Rather, they must, I would advise them to look within and see what they have done.
I also have with me, let me get another panelist into the discussion. I have Major General Arajan Kochar. And so when there are political parties who themselves are sowing the seeds of divisiveness, and you see that you are dividing the locals and amplifying their sentiments, their disgruntlement with Article 370 being abrogated, and then pitting them against the quote-unquote outsiders, which are the citizens of our country, who are now being allowed to get jobs, allowed to get employment, set up their homes, set up your industries, businesses, take up, buy land, be the owner of the homes that had been let go of because you were thrown out of your own land, your own state. How does this play out? Yes, you think people, I mean, this sentiment will garner the Congress the votes that it desires, but in the longer run, in the larger scheme of things, again bring the Jammu and Kashmir politics into the worst that it has seen in the last several years?
I would like to address this issue from a slightly different perspective. And that different perspective is that, first of all, the decision of having elections in J&K have been largely welcomed by all sections of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It is a return to democracy, and it is rightly so because the state required this kind of stability. Last 5 years, what the Lieutenant Governor's rule has actually done is it has created a stability in the state and environment conducive to holding elections. We actually saw the panchayat elections also, or the parliamentary elections. We started with the panchayat elections. After that, we had the parliamentary elections, and everything went off very, very smoothly. So a transition has to take place. But the larger perspective is, as DGP Vaid has actually said, tomorrow in the elections, we may have this parties in power. You can't legislate a thing that National Conference and Congress may not come to power. So the larger perspective is that the rules of governance have to be set in place in Jammu and Kashmir so that we don't go back to those times what was mentioned by the DGP just now, when terrorism was having its free say in the valley. I was posted in the valley at that point of time where the things were pretty bad. So when we talk about Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, when we talk about a transaction of business rules of the government of UT of J&K, the second amendment of 12th of July 2024, it is very much required that certain amount of enhanced powers are given to the Lieutenant Governor or the Governor as it will progress or in times to come, so that there are certain kind of checks and balances on the ruling disposition, because we can't allow them to have the same playing field as was given to them in the yesterdays. So I see this statement of Rahul Gandhi more of a political overtone, especially in the elections, to translate into a larger number of votes, because here he is trying to send a message to the people that if you get our party into power, we'll ensure the statehood of Jammu and Kashmir will be got faster. As a matter of fact, Prime Minister Modi himself has made a statement a couple of days back saying that the the statehood of Jammu and Kashmir is going to be restored very soon. And it's a logical process. You have to first have elections, and slowly you have to transit into the statehood. And very important aspect which I would like to emphasize here is the rules of governance. We can't afford to have the same kind of rules of governance, and that is why the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, which has even been upheld by the Supreme Court of India. We cannot go back to this because this new government will have a tendency to start demolishing all those rules and acts which have been placed in the last 5 years, and we cannot afford that to happen.
Yeah. Sumit Peer, now if the Congress and National Conference were to come to power, because they are fighting the elections in alignment with each other, and if there are promises that are being made by Rahul Gandhi and Umar Abdullah, are we living under the fear that as soon as the government comes to power and it is installed, we are going to go back in time, 5 years ago, when there would be no leniency shown when it comes to Kashmiri Pandits being allowed to own homes, own businesses, get employment, and how does this work out for the larger good of Jammu and Kashmir and the Kashmiri Pandits?
Megha ji, there are three important aspects of it. The first and the important aspect is what these two people are talking about. It's like running with the hare and hunting with the hounds. Or Hindi mein kehte hain 900 चूहे खा के बिल्ली आज को चली. Your great grandfather took Maslai Kashmir to United Nations, Rahul Gandhi. First, your father did nothing about it. Your grandmother, literally wanted it to simmer. You forced Maharaja not to have his own governor, but you wanted Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah to become the chief minister. You forced the Maharaja's hand. Then when the Hindu exodus of the Kashmiri Pandit genocide was happening, both the families, that is Farooq Abdullah's family with Rajiv Gandhi and Rahul with Umar Bhaiya, they were holidaying when the genocide was happening. Now, Farooq Abdullah going and saying, I want to get in China here and we want to get China's help to liberate Kashmir. Farooq Abdullah saying we should talk to Pakistan after Uri, after Balakot. They're the same set of people who demand you what are the proofs of the surgical strikes. And when 370 was there was no Supreme Court there was no IPC there, there was no CAG there was no auditor there. So you were sending the money from here. There were people like Mr. Vaid and Mr. General Saab who were defending their interests, and they were doing all the loot and plunder and all the death and destruction. It was a family business wherein at a 7% voter turnout, I'll become the chief minister. Now name me a country, name me a province of India wherein 77% turnout, I can become the chief minister. Well, this doesn't happen. But yes, this used to happen in Kashmir. And look at Umar Abdullah. He lost to a candidate who is in a jail, who filed his nomination from a jail one day before it, और ये बहुत बड़ा leader बनता है. He lost by 160,000 votes. In Baramulla, in his home constituency, he was not defeated. His face was rubbed into the ground. That was not a defeat by Rashid Engineer. Now, when these two guys are trying to get together, they have been partners in crime. They have been responsible for all the atrocities, all the genocide, all the debacle what Kashmir has seen, and all the 42,000 deaths have been seen. They are the people who have combinedly done it from last 3 generations. Now, if they get together, it's not a good news because we don't know how the results will shape up. If results come into their power, luckily we have this legislation in place wherein things can be controlled by the governor. So what are they trying? Before coming into power, they are trying to paint the sheep black, somehow attack the governor. Today it might be Manoj Sinha ji, tomorrow it might be somebody else. So they have started the canard already. It's the governor who is looting the money, it's the governor who is plundering the money. Yeah, governor is trying to build the roads. Yes, you are the people who said Kohe Maran and Suleiman, Kohe Suleiman. So Shankaracharya becomes Kohe Suleiman and Hari Parbat becomes Kohe Maran. And Shankaracharya temple was built by Shankaracharya ji, 10,000, 20,000 years back, and Islam is only 1300 years old. So Kohe Maran and Kohe Suleiman are what they are. And this Rahul Gandhi, along with his good buddy Farooq Umar Abdullah, is supporting this. What we should ask Dattatreya Kol, Kashmiri Pandit Brahman, devout शिव भक्त कुत्ते को रुद्राक्ष की माला और कोट के पर जनेऊ वाले ब्राह्मण को पूछिए जरा ये कोहे महारान और कोहे सुलेमान के बारे में ब्राह्मण जी आपके विचार क्या है? What do you know about them? And you claim to be a Kashmiri Pandit, right, Rahul Gandhi? If you're a Kashmiri Pandit, then what is your position about Kohe Maran and Kohe Suleiman? Now you are the people who denied Valmiki's their rights. You are the people who let genocide of Kashmiri Hindus happen, Kashmiri Pandits happen. You are the people who deprived Jammu from all its rights. You deprived Bakrewals, you deprived Gujars, you deprived the Dogras from all their rights. You are the people we are not able to pay the salaries of the state government employees. And you know who was their biggest revenue contributor to the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir? It was Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine. That is where the money used to come for even running the state. With all these loot and plunders happening, with their all-weather swimming pools, with their plush bungalows, with around 2 or 5 crores spent on the renovation of a swimming pool, now they're really rattled after 370 is gone. They're really rattled after 325 is gone because they were playing with India and Pakistan both. You know, सुबह Hindustan, शाम को Pakistan, दिन में secular, शाम को communal. That is what they were doing. Now that political insurance is gone. That political stability is gone. They have come together to save their dwindling political fortunes. They don't give a damn to J&K. They're not interested in J&K. They don't want to see peace and prosperity. They hate the number of 2 crore tourists coming there. They had to see billions of dollars of investment coming in. They hate to see.
But then to their credit, they again go about pandering with the narrative that, listen, this is the will of the people. This is what the locals want. And if they were to win the election on the plank that they are at this point of time putting forth, which is about, backing the locals and talking about the quote-unquote outsiders must not be given the privileges that the locals have, you are again trying to, roll back the abrogation of Article 370, if not legally, but in practice.
Yeah, Megha ji, you're right. But let's look at it. The problem of ours is, as Bharat, is that we have been always looking to J&K as valley-centering politics. What is valley? 15% of the area. Even if you look at Hindu-Muslim population, 55 Muslims, 45% Hindus and all together. Why was it that always you will have a Muslim chief minister? Because your 15% of the area has 60 to 70% of the assembly seats. That is why valleys politics will determine the state. Where are Dogras? Where are Bakrwals? Where are Valmikis? Where are Gujars? Where are Kashmiri Hindus? Where are Pandits? Where are so many? Where are Sikhs? Where are Christians? How come an Umar Abdullah, who doesn't win one seat in Udhampur, who doesn't win one seat in whole of the Jammu, who doesn't win one seat in Ladakh, no, Ladakh is not part of the state, how does he become the peace talker or the ruler of J&K? He is a valley-centric party, and as long as we don't implement delimitation, ideally we should have implemented delimitation, then we should have done the elections, because if you don't implement delimitation, you will let again this election to be hijacked by these valley-based parties.
Okay.
How many seats does Umar Abdullah have after the valley? And even his own constituency, he lost by 160,000 votes.
Okay. Okay. SP Ved, how do you react to the situation over here? Do you think the elections would be fair without checks and balances being put in place?
No, see, the J&K reorganization bill was very apt, and it's required for the time being. In fact, as far as concern of status of the state being returned to J&K, the Prime Minister has made it very clear. The Honorable Home Minister has made it very clear on the floor of the Parliament, and that will, in due course, will be it will be made state. But then, from the police point of view, security point of view, I would like to mention, you can't leave the gains you have got in last 5-6 years after abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, as stated on the floor of the House. I think this is basically a cross-border terrorism which Pakistan has, a covert war which Pakistan has unleashed on the soil of Jammu and Kashmir, is primary responsibility also of the Government of India. And Government of India needs to ensure that this work continues unabated through the police department, through the security forces, through the army, with their direct representative as Lieutenant Governor. That's why police and the All India services have been kept under the domain of under the powers of the Lieutenant Governor for the time being, till it regains its status of the statehood, and that is required till you bring situation to normalcy. And let me also mention here, Mr. Rahul Gandhi need to clarify that he has joined hands with the NC. Does he support, let people of rest of the country know this, does he support the demand of the National Conference which it has put in its manifesto, that it wants again Article 370 to be returned, want the renaming of Hari Parvat and Shankaracharya, want separate flag and constitution. Let Rahul Gandhi mention this. Let people of rest of the country learn this, that this is what Congress stand is. And then they will, I think, judge the Congress stand and accordingly vote. I think how much discrimination have they done? They have denied basic rights to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe as far as political representation is concerned.
Right.
They have the Pahadis were denied. All this has been done in these last 5 years. Now, I think Gujars, Bakkarwals, Pahadis, all they have been given. Now, look at the development pace which Prime Minister has, his government has brought here. I think they need to, I think people they understand what is the present government doing, and they will not be befooled by their slogans.
Major General Rajan Kocha, how do you view the situation? At this point of time, when the Lok Sabha elections happened, we saw a large percentage and unprecedented numbers who came out and voted, which also reinstalled faith in the security forces, in the democracy that is prevalent in Jammu and Kashmir, and faith in the government and our armed forces to ensure the safety and security of the people during the electoral process. This is in all likelihood going to be replicated in the Jammu and Kashmir assembly elections as well. What does this indicate, irrespective of whether the BJP or BJP allied parties come to power or don't?
Megha, first of all, I want to reiterate to the people of Jammu and Kashmir that the security forces have a strong hold over the entire area and will not allow any external forces to disrupt the elections. We have seen in the last 3 months, there has been a spurt of attacks on the security forces, especially the Indian Army from across the border. They have stabilized now, and all those areas which required domination have forces on ground right now. The second aspect is that I have no doubt this is going to be a free and fair elections, and whatever party comes to power, the government has ensured more powers right now to the Lieutenant Governor, because the government also knows that in case this entire power is given to the Chief Minister, and if that Chief Minister is detrimental to the security and to the sovereignty of our country, we cannot allow that to happen. And that is why the All India Police Powers, All India Services, Anti-Corruption Bureau, the appointment of the Advocate General, and all financial concurrences which are related to the police, to the public order, to the All India Services, etc., have to be controlled by the Lieutenant Governor. So this will ensure for the time being to see there is a stabilization, and the Chief Minister does not have that undue liberty and powers to do what he feels like doing. As of now, when we see this context, as a military person, I can tell you that we don't want to go back to the 1990s. So whatever gains we have made after 2019, after the abrogation of Article 370, those gains must not be lost. And therefore, I feel that whatever government comes into J&K, it will be a free and a fair election. It will be a strong message being sent across the border also, that in spite of all the interference which Pakistan has been doing all along, we have been able to conduct a free and a fair election, which never happens in Pakistan. Even the last elections in Pakistan was totally rigged, and the whole world is aware about that situation in Pakistan. So I think India will send a very strong message. I believe three your phases of elections are there in September, and I think 1st October is the last date. So I think it is going to be a victory of democracy as far as India is concerned.
Okay, all right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.